Hello, soldiers. Today we are going to discuss about the management representation letter. CA Ashish is appointed as an auditor of Crop Limited and is required to conduct the audit of restated financial statement of Crop Limited for the financial year 21-22, 22-23 and 23-24. Now, why the financial statements are being restated? The financial statements are being restated. The reason being that these company, Crop Limited, is going for listing under NSC. So, as per SEBI regulations, they require the restated financial statement. And when the financial statements are restated, so the auditor CA Ashish is required to conduct the audit and he has to issue an audit report on the restated financial statement for the financial year 21-22, 22-23, 23-24. And the audit report is issued on August 2024. The audit report is being issued. Now, CA Ashish will request for management representation letter for all the 3 years 21, 22, 22, 23, and 23, 24. But the management is of a contention that they were not there in 21, 22, 22, 23. So they are not able to provide any management representation letter or written representation for these years. So they can say, we can provide you written representation for the financial year 23-24. As a auditor of Crop Limited, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with this scenario? How CA Ashish has to deal with this scenario? See, written representation is a representation made by management to confirm certain matters or to support certain audit evidence. So it is a representation made in writing by the management to support certain matters, and that is the whole purpose of what you can say having a written representations. Written representation purpose, it's that way. So if you see written representation as per SA 580 must be in writing. Written representation is also known as management representation letter. So it has to be issued for all the periods as required by the auditor. That is one thing. And written representation is a necessary audit evidence. It acts as a necessary audit evidence, but it is not a sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So it is okay. It's a necessary audit evidence. It is not to the range of sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. The another thing, when we talk about the written representation, the date of written representation should be before the date of audit report. It should be as far as practicable near to the date of audit report, okay, but it should not be after the date of audit report. And as I highlighted that as per SA 560 subsequent events, we have to consider all those events after the date of financial statement until the date of audit report, which either require adjustment in the financial statement or disclosure in the financial statement. So that is why the written representation or the management representation letter, as far as practicable, it should be near the date of the audit report, but not after the date of audit report. That's the thing here. So it's important that the auditor has to obtain a written representation about a specific assertion in the financial statement during the audit. So auditor will obtain a written representation. That's the thing here. So the auditor will request for an updated written representation. So he'll go for an updated written representation. That's the thing actually. So auditor, what he will do, he will highlight and go for what you can say an updated written representation. That's the thing here. So now what is happening is that after the period is changed, so you may ask actually here for all the prior period. Written representation must be for all the periods referred in the auditor's report, because the management needs to reaffirm the written representation it previously made with respect to the prior period, whether they are appropriate in nature. So it will cover all the periods. So here 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, all the periods they want. The auditor and the management may agree to a form of written representation that updates the written representation of the prior period by addressing whether any changes to set written representation and what are these changes. So they may agree to a particular format. Now the current management, they may not be present for those periods actually. So these people may assert that we are not in a position to provide the written representation. They'll say, sir, we cannot provide the written representation. So they may highlight that way actually. No, we are not in a position to provide the written representation. They may highlight in this manner that because we were not there at that particular point of time. That's the thing here. So in such case, actually here, this does not diminish the person's responsibility for the financial statement as a whole. He cannot make a statement like this actually here. See, you were not there earlier, it's okay. But it does not reduces your responsibility. In this case, our auditor CA Ashish, who is doing audit of restated financial statement of Crop Limited for 22, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, he requested the management representation letter, and now it has to be issued before the issue of the audit report. That's the thing here. Now, since the management has provided only management representation letter of 23-24, which is not appropriate. So in this case, the auditor will request the management to cover for all the periods under SA 580. They cannot make a exclusion for the year 21-22 and 22-23. So they have to cover. In such case, if they don't provide, then management will again reassess the integrity of the auditor will again reassess the integrity of the management. He will discuss the matter with the management and those charged with governance that the written representation has not been happened. He will understand what is the impact of such written representation not being provided on his audit report and whether he has to take an appropriate action accordingly. Okay, and whether the audit report has to be modified under SA 705. A modification to audit report has to be given. That has to be checked by the auditor. The very important line is that the person will assert that he is not in a position to provide written representation because they were not in place during that period. But this will not diminish the person's responsibility for the financial statement as a whole. They are required to provide the written representation. That's how it is. Okay. Fine, soldiers. I hope you are clear. I'll see you in the next video.